Hi, this is Deborah Kaufman with Broadcast Beat. I'm in Hollywood at the Linwood Dunn Theater at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. We're here for a Digital Asset Managed Symposium, and I have with me a wonderful speaker, Laura Futrell of the Santa Clara Police Department, who's just given a really interesting discussion and presentation of the use of digital assets in the Santa Clara Police Department. Hi, Laura.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Great.
Tell me a little bit about your background. You have a really interesting background.
I started as a forensic biologist, and so now I work at the police department, basically I'm triaging evidence that goes over during investigations, and I help the police department interpret scientific reports that come into the investigations bureau.
Now, you've talked a little bit about how digital assets have become increasingly important in police departments, and I think you called that the CSI effect. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yes, I was talking about the CSI effect. We saw that when DNA first started coming into media or into the news in forensic investigations, and it started just becoming that during a trial, people expected DNA, they expected fingerprints, and now that CSI effect is kind of gone over into digital forensics, where now attorneys are expecting you to have, metadata and digital photos and video of all of the events that they're investigating.
Do they know when they're saying metadata, do they know what that means, do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they do or not.
So I know you said when you started in 2006, it was a matter. You had like megabytes, right?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how it's grown so massively.
So basically, when we first started archiving our data in a digital management system, we had 891 megabytes of digital photographs. And in 2012, we started archiving video interviews as well as audio interviews. And basically what we're seeing is at least a 40% increase annually. Right now we have 1.4 terabytes of data. And for us, even though that doesn't sound like a lot, we're basically thinking it's the tip of an iceberg, because as we move towards 24-hour video in the police department and body cameras worn by our police officers and cameras in the car, it's just exponential how much data we're going to have to store in the next coming years.
Well, I imagine part of the challenge is not just storing all this, but being able to search it in a timely fashion as well.
Yes. And we're still figuring that out. We're still figuring out how that's going to work, how we're going to disseminate it, and how we're going to find it once we have it stored long term.
So what are some of the big successes you've had using all this digital assets that you've got now?
I think for us, one of the biggest successes with our program is just being able to share it with our district attorney's office remotely in a secure manner, so that we don't have to be burning every single photo in triplicate on CD and walking it over to the DA's office. They can actually just log onto our system and download whatever they need.
And you've had some actual real success. I know you talked about some cold case homicides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's when I first came to the department. That was my initial job, was to review the evidence associated with our cold cases. And just in resubmitting testing to the laboratory, we were able to resolve 4 of our cold case homicides.
So that's pretty amazing. I mean, that's a really validation of everything that you're doing, it seems like.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you have a lot of support? It seems like Santa Clara, especially because you're in Silicon Valley, is kind of forward-thinking.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think our department is a very forward-thinking department. I mean, we have a very, we have social media online, and, we have a staff that really is able to see a need and get it met. And, just bringing a scientist into the bureau, I think, was a big step for a police department, and seeing that they need to have someone with more advanced forensic knowledge, I think it just shows, what they want to do the best job that they can.
Now, I know that also that because you're in Silicon Valley, you've worked with a couple of Silicon Valley companies as well. You mentioned Veripic and Adobe. Can you describe a little bit what they've done for you?
So basically, our digital evidence management system is run by Veripic, and the engineer that built that system used to work at Adobe. So he's very familiar with metadata and stuff for, photograph and video applications, and so he helps to write the software for the management system that we use.
And yet I understand that the people, the bad guys that you're going after, you say have tremendous sophistication.
Yes, a lot of times that's true.
Yeah, I think you said something about child pornographers who can write code backwards in their sleep.
Yes, it seems like it. A lot of that's the big challenge with police departments, is that you have investigators that are good at investigating, and you have people committing financial crime and people doing child pornography that are good at programming and, you know, hiding digital data.
So it sounds like police departments need to really invest a tremendous amount of resources and energy into digital assets then.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do you think, are they aware of this need? Are they going to go forward? Are they going to be doing it?
I hope so. I mean, I think our department, we're definitely aware of it. I mean, we're definitely now even trying to figure out, you know, moving forward, you know, what's going to happen in the next 5 or 6 years with, you know, the more cameras, the higher definition systems, you know, how do we manage and archive all this data long term?
And I understand that this summer you're going to be up to doing something very, very interesting.
Yes, I'm actually getting my certificate in digital forensics this summer, and hopefully that'll just add to my skill set at Santa Clara Police Department.
Well, tell us where you're going to be getting this certification.
It's at the Secret Service in Alabama.
So and if I can't ask you anything more. You might have to kill me.
Yes.
Well, good luck. It sounds like a really, really interesting use and an interesting crossover between what we do in entertainment and the greater world at large. So keep us apprised, okay?
Yes, thank you. And I'm interested to hear the rest of the talks today.